Hi again, gang. Well, I'm back in front of the cam machine and we're going to start working on the headstock inlay. I'm finally getting around to the inlay. I've already cut a Gibson logo, which you can see on the website here. I don't have too much of a problem putting a Gibson logo on it since it's a Gibson guitar, and I'm doing it in nickel metal steel. The reason why I'm doing that is because the inlays of the Vikings are going to have quite a bit of steel on them since they're kind of used in the helmets and then armor. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to clamp it into our cam machine. Get it nice and straight, because now we're going to work on the second part, which is the word Viking, which is going to be straight down vertically on the headstock. So if you think about where Gibson usually puts their diamond, we're going to have the word Viking in steel. So I thought it would look really, really nice against that rosewood headstock we made. So now that I've got this in, I'm going to use some oil, and that way the bit won't overheat or mar my material. And I'm going to bring up my cam program that I've already written in order to create the letters. After that, we're going to route out the headstock, glue it in, sand it off, and we'll have one hot looking headstock. So let's go. Well, here we are in the test fitting stage. You always put the pieces in to make sure they fit real nice. We noticed coming off the board that the Gibson logo twisted a little bit, it bent a little bit. It is steel, so we had to bend it back a little bit, make sure it fits real nice, and it does now. And we also noticed that these final three letters here are a little on the deep side. They're actually underneath the surface a tad, which we really don't want. The top three are fine, but these are just a little under, so it kind of means that the headstock was probably in there just a little bit crooked. That's not a problem. We can take care of it pretty easy just by laying some sawdust in underneath it. But it was a good thing that we checked it, or we would have ended up with problems later. Next step is to glue it all up. Okay, now we just make ourselves a little rosewood dust in order to color the glue. This is a pretty tight fit on this inlay, but just in case any of that glue shows, we don't want it to show clear, we want it to show brown. So we got some dust, and we got some epoxy. This time I have enough. I feel like I have plenty. There we go. So it comes in a little two-tube process if you've never used epoxy. One side is the glue and one side is the catalyst that starts making it stick. And hence the reason why it cements so hard. Now we got to stir those two liquids together. And when that happens, they will start to set up and start to dry and start to really turn into glue. Takes about 30 seconds or so to mix the color together. Make sure that the two parts are mixed well and the sawdust is in there nice. Now, I'm going to take off my ring because I don't want to get any of this stuff on my ring. And I just start laying the epoxy into the holes, like so. Alright, now I take my Gibson logo here and push it right in. It fits real nice. That's a nice fit. Wow. Couldn't ask for better than that. Now I take my little dot, put it up at the top. Okay, just wipe it off a little bit, make sure it looks good. Looks good. Looks good, nice and cemented. Oh yeah, that looks good. So, I'm going to do the same thing to the word Viking here. I think these steel letters are going to look really, really nice against this rosewood when it's all nice and dark and varnished. Not varnished, finished. Alright. Oops, missed a spot. V. I. K. Come on, K. Can't seem to find the hole. There it is. K is in two pieces, so put the other piece down. Another I, and I didn't really get all the glue in that eye hole. So I'm going to do that again. I. N. Spot in the N that's not filled in either. There we go. Now it is. G. Alrighty. Now what I usually do is I want to make sure that there's no gaps anywhere in there, so I'm actually going to take another layer of epoxy and put it over the top. This will all be sanded off later, just to make sure that if there's any gaps on there, they get nice and filled in. It's going to look really sharp. I love the choices we made here. And there it is. Now I gotta let this set overnight, because even though this epoxy hardens in 20 minutes, it does really take overnight to really set up. Now I'm just going to quickly check around to make sure that the leveling is correct, since we were having a touch of a problem with that earlier. And it all feels pretty good. Yep, yep. And I think it's going to be very, very pretty. So the next step of this video is we're going to come in here and sand off all this epoxy, and then we'll see what we got. But I can already tell, just looking right through the glue, that this is going to be hot. A little bit of final buffing. This is important because it's the steel. We still want to give it a little bit of that brushed look, but we want it to be shiny brushed, not dull brushed. One last check, and I'm happy.